Welcome to Will It Fire on AZCactusTac. Today we've got the Beretta AR70. Let's get into it. Hey, the Beretta AR70. Really, I would say probably not on the radar of most people in terms of the pre-ban imports. Maybe a little bit of a forgotten rifle, but just a beautiful rifle, man. I mean, this has a long and sordid history. Had its genesis in a joint partnership with Sig Sauer of Switzerland. You can sort of see there's a lot of commonality to the Sig 550 here. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. But about 1,000 to 2,000 of these were imported around, I'm going to say 1984, 83 timeframe through 89. Yeah, so not a whole lot were brought into the U.S. Considered one of the finest, if not the finest, coming togethers of an AR-15 style platform together with an AK-47. A lot of AK-47 influence here, starting with its operating system, which is a long stroke gas piston. It has a two-lug rotating bolt. And again, I'd say the ergonomics a little bit closer to the AR-15. Anyway, let's see. Will it fire? Let's get that out of the way. Now, before I fire this thing, or I hope to fire it, when I bought it, there was a little bit of issue around the trigger. Trigger wasn't working. They said, hey, do you still want to do it? And I said, well, let's see what the gunsmith says. Gunsmith says he got it working. So I don't know. If it's not working, it's my problem now. So this is an old gun. So I'm hoping that it'll work. So let's see. It is with some trepidation that I fire this. And let's see if we can get a couple of rounds down and if she works. Wow, man, what an interesting recoil impulse. You definitely feel that piston slapping back on you, but not bad at all. Again, chambered in 5.56, so let's talk about it. We'll get her up on a quick tripod here, go around. Man, I'm so thankful that she fired. I was working on it last night, and that trigger seemed to be sticking a lot. Threw a lot of lube down there. But as I was working the bolt, it seemed to be working. And yeah, so far so good. We'll put some more rounds through it today. But at least right now, yeah, okay, cool. This is not a cheap rifle. So I'm glad to see that's working. All right, so Beretta AR70, what can I tell you about it? Now, I have another episode called On the Bench with the Beretta AR70. Go into a lot more detail on the history. So this is an import rifle from Italy. Imported into the U.S. in about starting in 1985, and of course going into the first assault weapons ban, or not the first, but the 1989 ban, which at that point pretty much Beretta stopped importing. A lot of Americans are more familiar with the next generation of this, which is called the AR7090, or I think it's AR7090, I think, which is a more modernized version. However, what came into the U.S. in that variant was just parts kits. So this is the only Italian rifle from the Cold War era off its military production line. And again, it's chambered in 5.56, 223. So the history of this, real quick, is the Italians and the Swiss had a pretty good partnership for a rifle called the 510. And, you know, this is in the mid-60s. Everyone's seeing what the U.S. is doing with the 5.56, especially in the Vietnam, that's about to kick off. But they were thinking, hey, if we could be the ones to sell 5.56 rifle to NATO, NATO's probably going to adopt that round. We can make a lot of money. Beretta approached Colt trying to get the license. And in true form, Colt said no. In fact, Colt said no to the Koreans, and that spurred them to produce their own 5.56 rifle. They said no to Beretta, hence Beretta and Sig teamed up and said, let's do another collab. I think that was going to be called the 530, and they set out to do that. So long story short, that collaboration did not really end well. They both had very different opinions on what to do. The Swiss were coming off the the PE57. They were enamored with roller delayed blowback, and the Italians were very familiar with the BM59, which is a modified M1 Garand, and they were sort of in love with the two-lug rotating bolt system. They felt that the roller delayed was going to be way too heavy. And so consequently, they had a splitting of like the ways. Long story short, if you look at what the Swiss wound up with, the Swiss wound up really copying the Italians. They learned pretty quickly that the roller delayed would not probably be the best operating system for what they wanted to do. So anyway, you know, they split in sort of the late 60s and the early 70s. Beretta came up with the M70 here. They, of course, wanted the Italian army to replace the BM59 with this. That did not work out. The Italian Navy used it, I think Special Forces. There were a couple of countries, maybe Malaysia and Jordan come to mind. I might be wrong with that. If you guys know, put it into the comments. But in general, not a super successful rifle. But you know, again, just beautiful design, well put together, great quality. It's a stamped, I think it's a stamped sheet metal, lower or probably upper too. Cold, you know, cold hammer forged, chrome lined barrel. Again, long stroke gas operating system. And so anyway, interesting stuff. And let me just go ahead and grab the small camera. I want to give you guys a closer look while I still have a little bit of light left. Okay, while we take advantage of this light, we sort of have this, I'm going to call it like a polymer type stock. Same with the pistol grip. I have to say the ergonomics, when you hold this rifle, at least for me, this rifle feels fantastic. You got a safety, but the safety operates a little bit differently. It's a down for safe and up for fire. Generally on the AR platform, it's the reverse. You can see here, it's Beretta, you know, MOD AR70 223. And again, it's a good looking rifle, man. It just has that Cold War era aesthetic to it. Really nice lines, some polymer handguards. And then you've got this, the bail lugs have been sort of ground off for import into the US. This was sporterized a bit. There would have been a gas block to adjust. This is still reminiscent of the grenade, you know, spigot. This is basically a sleeve over the barrel. But this is vital because this actually retains the gas block, and you have to take this off. That enables you to take the gas block off, which enables you to pull the piston rod and spring out from this end, not going through the back end. So anyway, it's sort of a pain in the ass to disassemble. Here she is from the other side. You've got, you know, some, I would say, peep sights. 150 and 300, I think, is all she has. And you've got some adjustments there for that. And again, it's a bolt bolt system here. It does hold back on empty. It is the magazines, and I'll show you guys later. It's an AK style mag. It's sort of rock and lock. The magazines are proprietary to this system, so they are a little bit hard to find. And then just coming down, you can see, again, on the military version, they do have adjustments. You can shut off the gas to shoot the grenade launcher. And I forget what you call the bolt that goes back and forth, man. It's just skipped my mind. But it's one of those recirculating, reciprocating bolts. So as you're firing it, the bolt is continuing to operate. I just cannot remember that right now. So anyway, guys, let's get some rounds. Let's release some light here. I'd like to get her on and see where she's zeroing at. Try to get it. Okay, I've got a target about 36 yards down. Here's the magazine. You can see it's a rock and lock. You've got this big magazine release lever right here. Very reminiscent of the AK style. So it does have a bolt release. Again, you've got a blend of AR-15, M16 platform style ergos combined with the operating system of the AK. So pretty cool. Let's see here. Is there anything? Okay, it goes out to 300. 150 and 300 are the only two options here. So I'm just going to go with the peep sight that is 150. And Chamber around, and let's get this off of safe, and we'll put a few down there. And of course, irons in my eyesight are not a good match anymore. Just sort of a big blurry mess. I'm trying to use a lollipop hold, so just trying to get my sight right underneath the center. All right, let's go down. Let's take a look. Okay, so not bad. We're a little to the right, so we would need to get her adjusted a little bit to the left. But I'd say the elevation is actually pretty good. So again, I won't spend time doing a detailed zero right now, but I think that looks pretty solid. We do have a safe and clear rifle. So let's just check out the trigger here. Okay, there's a little bit of take up. It's a little crunch. Pretty crisp break. Okay, a pretty significant amount of travel to a hard wall. No real take up on that reset. Just maybe a micro amount. I have to say the trigger is actually pretty good for a mil-spec trigger. So anyway, I'm not much of a trigger guy, but I know a lot of you are, so hopefully that helps. But I guess in my opinion, it's better than most that I've shot. It's better than the K2. I know that. I just shot the K2 pretty recently, and it's better than that. So let's just get a feel for it and see how she does here. Yeah, so I gotta tell you, the recoil impulse on this feels really good, but you can certainly feel that piston coming back. There's a little bit of a thud right at the end. Okay, and bolt lock back. All right, let's get another mag. You know, one of the popular stories about this is, I guess, when they were importing into the U.S., some people reported that theirs actually came in a Beretta shotgun box. So hopefully they ordered that. This magazine right here is a very old mag. So again, I've never shot it before, so let's see what happens here. Use the bolt release and get it off safe. And let's fire, 6 rounds or so. Wow, okay, that's pretty nice. Very nice, man. Wow, that's it definitely soaks up the recoil pretty well, although you do feel that tapping. So I'd say, let me compare it to the K2. A little bit rougher shoot than the K2, but an overall really good feel and balance. I think, again, for me and how I shoot, this gun is like perfect. I really enjoy it. All right, we'll grab another mag, put a couple more rounds through. All right, let's continue with some more rapid fire. I really like this bolt release. That's just, again, given the age of this thing, it's just some cool shit in terms of how they were blending AK and AR-15 on this thing. I think it's one of the best done for sure. It really is. In fact, if you watch safe works. If you watch my On the Bench episode with this, I take the bolt out of the SIG 553P that I have, which is more modern, and the bolt out of this, it's uncanny the difference, how little difference that there is between the two. There's some nuances, there's some differences, and of course, through modern times, the precision on the SIG is out of this world. But again, you can really see that these two work together for 3 years on something. And also that rotating 2-lug bolt that, you know, the Italians really liked in the BM-59, pretty much the same as the M1 Garand. Mikhail, you know, Kalashnikov also said that that design heavily influenced him in the bolt design for the AK-47. So again, it's, you know, you're seeing how all these firearms are drawing DNA, you know, and that's what I find really interesting, is that you can literally pick up a firearm and see DNA from 2 or 3 generations back. And I'm sure the M1, you know, pulled DNA from other places too. But that's one of the enjoyable things, is sort of marrying history that you can actually touch. And again, this Cold War era, you know, rifle is just really cool, you know, to have in the collection. I never set out to get any AR-15s or AR-15 style 5.56. I was focused solely on battle rifles, which I classify as a 7.62 by 51. But before I knew it, I'm like, well, Vietnam, big Cold War era conflict, I really should have an M16. Closest I could get to that was the SP1 Colt. I got that, then that led me down a rat hole, and I got the AR-180 from Sterling, you know, Armalite, and you know, that influenced a lot of firearms you guys shoot today, from the Scar to the Tavor, and such. And then, yeah, so now I've got the, you know, I have the Daewoo K2, and I've got the Beretta AR70. So let's get some more rounds through this thing. And I love it that the bolt holds open, man. That is so cool. And it's a rock and lock mag, baby. All right, just put two more mags through it, 20 rounds each. And I think she's had a good enough workout. This does come, they did have a scope mount on it. So again, even back in those days, they were thinking about optics, although this is a proprietary. It looks like a Weaver style mount. I've searched high and low for an optic to put on this. I was hoping someone maybe made a pick rail adapter, but no such luck. So again, you know, for me, I'm sort of relegated to irons, and I used to shoot irons a lot. And again, as my eyes sort of, you know, got older and stuff, really do most of it with the red dot now. But anyway, let's just get a couple more rounds. I want to give her a good workout today. Check these mags out. Everything seems to be working pretty good so far. Yeah, the safety is not quite the safety you can work a lot, although it's not too bad. You can actually work it with your thumb. I really love the pistol grip on this thing, man. I swear to God, if I could buy these in modern day, I definitely would. Okay, yeah. So the ergos from the safety operation, definitely want the modern. Probably shouldn't drop those mags. Those mags are very expensive. But I really love the rock and lock style on an AR-15 style platform. It's just fucking cool. Yeah, boy, this thing, it does feel really good to shoot, I say. But boy, I suck with irons, man. Holy shit. All right, guys. Let me take a quick break, put things back together here, and then we'll come back and close out. So, this episode of Will She Fire? Fuck yeah, she will. Everything worked great, knock on wood. I was a little concerned with that trigger based on some of the issues that we had during the time I was buying this. And of course, when I was breaking it apart and cleaning it, it was, sort of snagging and didn't seem to work well. So put a lot of lube and worked it in even more, but she seems to be working great. So knock on wood, that is holding together. Everything else seems to work. My field strip and reassembly seems to be done in a correct way. So I'm stoked about that. And all in all, yeah, I think this is just a smoking good looking rifle, man. Cold War era styling at its best, hangs together even in the modern times. And I have to say, from an AK sort of AR-15 mix, yeah, this thing's taking it to the next level. I think it's, again, the SIG and this are all drawn from that same DNA going back into the 60s, where the two companies were collaborating together. It's unfortunate that this never really commercially caught on. I think it went out of service in 1990 when the AR90 came on board, and that rifle had a carry handle. He could mount optics and everything else on it, but I don't know that that was overly successful either. Although I believe it did replace the BM-59 in the Italian army. But man, I mean, this is just smoking cool. I mean, if you were special forces in Italy, this is a smoking cool rifle, I have to say. Anyway, that'll be the stuff that fantasies and dreams are made of. With that, guys, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. And remember, shoot your guns, even the collectibles. Take care.